Live from Kutztown, Pennsylvania.
I forgot to ask you this before we started. What is the proper pronunciation of your full name?
Whoa. Can you handle it? Nahum Ben-Yehuda.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but
I'll explain that part.
yeah, you have been known by other names in the past.
That's true.
Bill Dreiman or Bill Marimba.
You've done some snooping.
As I have. I have. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with an absolute gem in the percussion community who happens to be visiting us during our time hosting William Mersch for a concert here on Thursday the 5th of February 2026. We talked a little bit about this in my background, where I was given a pair of Good Vibes Mallets, and a lot of people know that name being really, really high quality vibraphone mallets, and that you can use on anything. At least that's how I discovered it. I know you've experimented with lots of other mallets, but this is the man who established and founded Good Vibes.
Good Vibes Mallet Works.
There it is. See, I didn't even know that.
Incorporated.
So you've been hanging out with us for a couple days, testing a lot of our instruments, testing some new
Having
products.
a great time here.
He's a kid in a candy
A
store.
very, very warm welcome. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable to have you here. And so as we've been talking, you've been telling me all these wonderful stories. I just clicked in my head. I was like, we need to sit down and we need to talk. We need to put this into
It's a great honor for me.
the internet forever. It's an honor to have you here, especially. Well, let's get started. You are originally from America, correct?
Suburban Washington, D.C.
What year were you born?
1955, April 6th, 3 p.m. George Washington University Hospital.
There it is. Good memory.
They told me.
And you fell in love with not only percussion and playing it, but creating these wonderful pieces of art.
Let's start at the very beginning.
Very beginning. Let's
We
hear
were
it.
very, very fortunate to grow up in a culturally rich atmosphere and vicinity. At that time, we would go to the National Ballet, we would go to Constitution Hall to hear the National Symphony Orchestra. There was no Kennedy Center at that time yet. My mother, may she rest in peace, was of a theatrical background. She took me down to see Twyla Tharp and her dance troupe, which I will never forget. I think it was 10 years old. Twyla Tharp is still out there. She's incredible. She's got a new book out. I recommend it highly. And we could also go to the place called the Cellar Door and see Mingus.
Mingus.
Or Blues Alley to see Red Norvo or Bags. And later on, I could go there and see Buster Williams. Buster Williams. It still exists. Blues Alley, very famous jazz club in Washington, D.C. Arts, music, knowledge, culture. We were very, very fortunate to grow up in a place like that.
Absolutely.
Not everybody has that.
And what a time, too. What a time. The right place and the right time. Like when you're mentioning all these people, like they're, just everyday musicians. They're legends.
Okay, true. True. Now, 7th grade, junior high school, and a mandatory part of the curriculum is music appreciation. Boys had to take industrial arts, girls had home economics, and everybody had to take music appreciation. I don't know if that's the case today. We learned how to listen to music.
It's there, but it's not the same. They don't do the same things.
So the teacher's name was Miss May. She weighed about 5 pounds, a very thin little lady, and you sat there on bleachers in the classroom, and there were illustrations of all the families of musical instruments on the wall: brass, woodwind, strings, percussion. weirdest picture of all for me. I was looking there straight ahead. I'd never seen these things before, really, up close. And I don't know, at some point in the school year, she wants us to listen to the Young People's Guide to the Orchestra, Benjamin Britten.
Classic.
And we're supposed to be able to identify what's going on. Here the pictures are around the classroom, and here you're listening. And to combine these two things, and they got to the percussion spotlight in the composition, and I'm making all the movements in the classroom, doing this and doing that and doing this out of pure excitement, enthusiasm. And at the end, Miss May says, "Did you see what he was doing?" Because he's connecting with the music. So more or less the next day, I open up the Yellow Pages. Does anybody know what that means? The classified telephone directory, the Yellow Pages.
I remember.
Let your fingers do the walking. And I open up to music stores. Maybe there was a subdivision for different types of music stores. There were not that many in Washington, D.C., like it was not New York. And anyway, here's a store called Drums Unlimited. And I hesitantly dialed them on the dial phone, or maybe it was still even a push-button phone.
Wow.
And I asked,
Dial phone.
do you give xylophone lessons? Well, we certainly do. Come right over.
There you go.
I came right
There you
over.
go.
And they had a studio and a teacher. I think the studio had a Musser Triet. That's a 3-octave student marimba. There was
Yes.
a 2.5 also, but the Triet was the classic student marimba. And you could, I don't know how you say this, you can rent it, and all of the rental payments go towards the purchase of the instrument if you desire at the end. So it was
Rent to own, I think. Rent to own, right?
But you didn't have to do that.
Okay.
But your investment was completely covered. You didn't waste your money on rental.
Yeah.
You said, I really want one. Well, you've already paid $100.
Right.
So just add the rest of it. I did buy the Musser Triet Rosewood Marimba afterwards. My teacher was Tommy Wardlow. He was the first extra at the National Symphony Orchestra or everywhere else in town.
What was his name? Yeah.
Tommy Wardlow, first call freelance percussionist
Tommy.
in Washington, D.C. at the time. So one thing leads to another. One thing leads to another. I think just about at that time, you buy either Musser mallets or Drieman mallets. That's all there is.
Right. Like the Musser two-step.
Not yet.
Oh, not even there.
I'm going to get there in a minute. They're still all rattan handles. Drieman are all black. You don't know the difference unless you read the fine print.
You're talking about the yarn? The tips?
The rubber mallets without no yarn on them, they're all black. From bottom to top, they're all black. Nobody even thought, wait a minute, copy Musser. They didn't do it. And so I bought a pair of Drieman mallets at that time, and they were approximately like the Musser red ones, which are too hard. And my room in the house was in the basement. I would practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. And my father went completely wild. He couldn't concentrate reading his
newspaper.
The New York Times and books. He couldn't because this guy down in the basement, me, was pounding away. And
I think we all feel for our parents. You know,
so
I remember all the times
my
I was
father
playing
took me
drum
back
set.
to Mickey. This is Drums Unlimited in Bethesda, Maryland. This is Frank Tepurzer. His nickname was Mickey. Everybody knows Mickey Tepurzer. And showed him. I said, "Well, you got the wrong ones. They're too hard. Take the Musser yellow ones."
Uh-huh.
And he can practice, and you will be able to read the newspaper.
Not even the blue ones.
And they were still all rattan. They were using the last batch of funky rattan, which was bent in
Yes, the banana rattan.
just to finish
yes.
out the last batch, because nobody knew they were going to change over to the two-step fiberglass ones. The official explanation was because of the Vietnam War. That was the official one. Because of the Vietnam War, you can't get rattan anymore. Okay, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
And then Deegan tried this nylon handles, like spaghetti number 8. They were impossible to use,
Right.
but they also had to do something.
Wet fettuccine.
Overcooked noodles. You could not use those. In parallel, a couple of things happened. A pair of the Musser M1 yellow mallets, which are great. It's 70 diameters. We'll get to that. Okay. And I'm playing, and something's going wrong. Something sounds wrong with one of the mallets. So we go back to Mickey, and I think he took out a knife and cut it open, and there was an air pocket inside the rubber bulb. And he said, but you must have very sensitive ears to be able to hear something. And here's a new pair.
That was very nice.
This is Mickey Tippers.
Yeah.
He's a real pro. Here's a new pair. I'll take them back. Defective.
Yeah.
And Ludwig had regional representatives. This guy's name was Ford, I think. And he would give them back to the Ludwig representative and get a refund. In parallel, at that time, a friend and I were working at what's called the Washington National Capitol Trolley Museum. At that time, they converted from trolley cars to buses. They hadn't built a subway yet, and burned up the trolley cars and pulled up the tracks. They thought that was the best thing to do, and now everybody's sorry about that. They have to put them back in.
Yeah, where's our public transportation?
But somebody was able to obtain some of the trolley cars and establish a working museum. And one of the cars was called the Snow Sweeper. You could use one here.
Oh boy.
With rotating brushes, and I said, oh my goodness, the brushes are made out of rattan.
No way.
The brushes are made out of rattan.
Light bulb moment.
In which city are there still working trolley cars? Philadelphia. So this young man, I took the train up to Philadelphia, probably, it was not the Metroliner yet, more or less Metroliner type, and find out where the trolley barn is. I forgot the name of the company in Philadelphia. Pennsylvania Valley Rapid Transit, something like that. And find
Before
out
SEPTA. Before SEPTA.
But where do you keep the snow sweeper? It's over there in the corner, in the barn, the trolley barn, the car barn. And there's somebody, who's the maintenance man? This old guy is the maintenance man. So I said, I noticed that you've got the snow sweeper and it's got do you have extra rattan to replace the broken tines? He said, yes, we have a bale over here. And it says where it comes from. I said, well, thank you very much, sir. Could I take a little sample? I'll take something over here. It's my gift to you.
Very nice.
And then I start figuring out who is the importer from the Far East somewhere, I don't know where, of rattan. And I found who this was. It evidently, if anybody knows what Billy Dorn was an elderly mallet player from New York, New Jersey, and I think he had been retired already, and he was still making W. Dorn mallets made out of rattan handles and certain special rubber balls, and they were wrapped very specially with special stitching all around. And I didn't really like the mallets because they had knots in the rattan, but that was what there was. There was there was a knot here and a knot there and a knot there. I wanted it to be knot free. So I get to the importer with a big warehouse with rattan and bamboo, all kinds of things from the Far East. They came on a ship to the port of something in New Jersey. And they said, Billy Dorn was just here picking out rattan.
So you guys
there's
converged.
he wasn't out there when I got there,
Yeah.
and I think he passed away afterwards. So here's the big pile of rattan. Go to it, pick out whatever you want.
Now, what year is this?
I don't know.
Okay. 70s?
Yes.
70s, it's around that time?
68, 69.
Just
End
for
of the
listeners
60s.
to follow along.
End
yeah.
of the 60s. Go ahead. When you're finished and you've got everything you want, just come and tell me and I'll weigh it or
Yes.
or look at it and tell you this was not expensive at all.
Do you remember the name of the importer?
No.
No? Just found them.
I know that they don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I know that.
Makes sense.
I know that. Hoboken, you could smell the coffee being roasted on the street. It was wonderful to be there. So you pick up as much rattan, try to find it the best rattan. It was straight as possible and longest portions with no knots in them, and he would cut it down to size, something or other, and then somehow take it back to where you came from. And that's the raw material that I was able to work with for this component. Trolley cars, Philadelphia, snow sweeper, Hoboken, New Jersey, and back home. So there is rattan. The Vietnam War was a fake reason. It's difficult to work with, let's be honest. It's easier to work with fiberglass. Easier to work with.
Easier. So you truly think they?
I don't know.
Easier.
I don't know. But I'm just telling you the facts. It's memories. So nobody else at that time. Okay, but I've got the rattan.
What were you using for the balls now?
Wait, I've got to step by step. I didn't decide anything yet what to do with it. I just knew that I couldn't play the fiberglass mallet handles. I couldn't play the deacon. I couldn't play the musser. And there were a lot of people grumbling, we can't use these, we can't play it, you can't get anything anymore. They look for the old ones in the back of the store and all these stores back nowhere that still hadn't sold them yet, and grabbed them quickly and with all the warped rattan at the end of the batch. They wanted to get rid of it all at the end.
Right.
And anything you could get your hands on, they would take. So what you do is, I'm not the person who invented it, you can pull the balls off the old mallet, twist them around and pull them off, and try to put them on something new.
I heard you could boil it too.
I never do that.
My teachers used to tell me boil it to soften the glue, and then you could really easily
put it in a vise
Yeah.
and pull back, get it off and put it on something new. And I don't remember, aside from recycling old mallets, I don't remember yet more than that. Intermezzo. But this man sitting in your studio, Andrew, as a scientific analytic mind, I wanted to learn more about this before doing it. I'm not so impulsive. I am impulsive, but it's balanced out with analysis. So Washington, D.C. is the home of the National Bureau of Standards. They used to be inside the city. They can't continue there. They moved outside the city to Gaithersburg, Maryland, which was way out. Today it's nothing.
Yeah.
Way out there. So somehow I take the initiative, go out there and ask, where is the elastomer section? Right over there. And I walk in. Hello. This is the elastomer section? Yes. Well, I'd like to know some things. What are different hardnesses of rubber? What happens when it gets old? How do you measure these things?
Right.
And he says, well, look at this. Come over here. They had an old automobile tire from, I don't remember exactly when. It was hard as a rock. Because when Charles Goodyear invented vulcanization, which is adding sulfur to the rubber to make it stable, it doesn't stop it from hardening.
Okay.
So this tire had become as hard as a rock. That was one of the first things I learned. You have to find some way to stop it from hardening as it ages. Okay, I've got this written down here.
Yeah.
It can be done. At that time, okay. What else? And this instrument, they said, is called a durometer. And this measures the hardness of rubber.
You showed me these earlier. And
Okay?
I foolishly thought they were like pencil microphones at
Exactly. There are two different kinds. There are more than this. These are it's called A and D.
Do you mind if I hold them up to the camera?
Yeah, do that.
So
do that.
You please continue. Which one's A? Is this A?
The silver is A and gold is D.
D.
Okay?
And what is the difference between A and D? I'm sure you'll tell us.
The basic difference is that this is for softer elastomers.
Mm.
I can measure my finger without puncturing my finger here. I can't do that here.
Oh.
This is for going up to the hardest plastics, up to nylon and PVC and polypropylene, which have passed this range. This is the soft. You can go from soft a pencil eraser.
Wow, that's
From a pencil eraser all the way up to a certain place, which would have been in our time the Musser M3 blue xylophone.
Got you.
You're still here.
Yes, it kind of works like you push it.
How much does
into
it go
Yes.
in? You know exactly.
And it reads how much pressure.
Yes. Now these are more sophisticated versions. With today, it's digital and all kinds of great stuff. But I still like the old ones. You can put it in your pocket and do anything you want.
Is there anything in between those two?
Yeah, but nobody uses it. There's A, B, C, D, O, all kinds of things.
You can
a tire technician can check your tires out, and they say the rubber of the tires is already gotten too hard. You must replace them right now. Because you never know what's going to happen to you on the road now because they're too hard. It's a black one for tires.
Gotcha.
Okay, so this young man figures out where do they make these, and writes them a letter. It's called Rex Gauge Company, out North Shore from Chicago. North Shore.
North Shore, Chicago.
Rex Gauge Company. And my funny letters I used to write on recycled paper. And the man answers me. The man's name is Clyde Forrester, and he starts to explain about durometers and rubber and elastomers and something called creep. Now in our time, if there was a guy that you really don't like, you call him a creep.
Right.
But creep in rubber means something specific. It has something to do with the bounciness. You could have an X hardness, and this one has creep and this one doesn't have creep, and they're different. They function differently. And we can find out on mallets a direct application of it. It sounds completely, it's out to a trained ear like yours and mine, or Bill Mersch. It could be the same hardness, and he doesn't know it, but they sound different because they've got, this one has no creep and this one has lots of creep.
So even
it's
the same hardness, it could still
it's
have
one
variance.
parameter. There are a couple more parameters going on as well. So you can measure creep with this also. It's just so funny to say that. This is real. This is a real creep.
Did you ever walk up to someone and be like, "Oh, you're a real creep"?
So
it's a mouth joke for you.
We're corresponding. How much time?
Keep going. Don't worry.
With Clyde Forrester. And I said to myself, I'm going to go visit. I want to see this man in person. And come to Chicago. There are other things to do in Chicago. Hang out at Frank's Drum Shop all day and meet everybody who's who.
Yeah, everyone coming in.
Jose Bethencourt and I forgot all the names already. I'll remember afterwards. And everybody comes in and hangs out, and you can see all these things which you can't see anywhere else. Any possible the new LP African clavis with the hole in the middle, and you never see these before anywhere else. So I went up to the durometer company, and we sat for the whole day and explained about rubber and durometers and creep and this, that, and the other thing. It was just wonderful. So I have knowledge on this part of the mallet. The mallet has two components, and it has three. And then I go down.
Are those your original set?
That's it.
These are the ones you got all the way back
Yes.
years ago.
When we get to the part about Musser, I've got a great story. It's not derogatory about Musser and durometers. Okay, they of course didn't know what that word. They didn't know the word. They just would buy red, yellow, blue, black, and that's it.
Right.
And
the red one.
And the company
The yellow
said,
one.
well, okay, it's this, that, and the other one. It's hard, medium hard, very hard.
Which
Means nothing.
Because it's different to everyone.
Yes.
Right? It's different to like Walter. It's different you, mustard.
That's good. I wanted something which is standard.
So when you label your mallets, do you label them by that number?
At the time, there was a model number 240, which means it's 40 diameter. 270 is 70 diameter. 280 is 80 diameter. 290 is 90 diameter.
That's so cool to hear that there's actual logic behind that, because I know a lot of the companies now, like that I use and students use, it's arbitrary almost.
Absolutely.
It's almost like this is our first mallet, so it's 1. Then the next one's 2, or sometimes there's a 3000 series.
But there's no Bureau of Standards who can enforce labeling, which means this has no genetically modified ingredients. There's no one can do that.
It's a free range mallet.
Yeah. Okay. Like the eggs.
Yes, exactly.
Organically grown.
There you go. Triangle beaters. But that's really cool to hear that there's the actual science behind it.
There is.
Especially for.
And we haven't even gotten to the weight and the shape and the surface. And I want to do some more work with the rattan. Go down to there's no internet, no computers. I go downtown Washington to the Library of Congress, into the card catalog.
There you go.
To the wooden drawer. And look up under the topic rattan. What is there? If there is anything, they've got it. They've got it.
Yeah, of course.
They've got it.
It's the modern day Library of Alexandria.
And there is a booklet from who knows 1935 about rattan, which explains where it grows and how it grows and what it's used for and how they harvest it and to whom they ship it. Wonderful information, because I want to go back down to basics, like one would study. Of course, every marimba student knows the science of rosewood. Which rosewood is it, and where does it grow, and which rosewood isn't it? I'm being sarcastic. Excuse me. Not the something's missing. We've got the same problem with textile school today. Ask a modern student at textile school if there is something like that. What do you know about sheep? I don't know. Maybe it's like acrylan. It's like acrylan. They don't know anything about it. They used to. The first year in textile school in the 60s was devoted to sheep. Period.
No way.
Okay. Sheep. That's it. Different sheep. It's the slices on the sheep. What do you do with the fleece? What do you do with the wool? How do you card it? How do you spin it? How do you weave it? Just 1 year sheep. So this is the way I approach things. So I know much more about rattan that might help trying to access it, not just going up to New Jersey and rumbling through their big pile and maybe have it sent in. I did that, and I made all kinds of mistakes. One must make all possible mistakes once each once, and learn from it. Mm-hmm. One who never does anything never makes any mistakes. Make every mistake possible once and learn from it.
Good advice for life.
I did that. I made some great mistakes, wonderful mistakes, and learned from it until I refined the approach. The other thing which connects everything together is the proper adhesive. Now it's falling apart.
Okay.
And especially when Musser went to the Delrin white plastic handles, they would fall apart all the time.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to glue these
together.
two things together. It really is impossible. It is impossible to do it.
I'm sure.
I
don't have the patience. I would not have the patience for it.
So this is going to adhesive engineering. At that time, there was still in Washington D.C. there was still industry, and there was a place where he's an adhesive specialist. He's the representative of 3M and this place and the other place, and you've got two substances which you want to connect together, and they're going to get a lot of impact.
Right, can they withstand the impact?
And he says, okay, you need this, and this is your adhesive. One component, two components, how long does it need? Do you have to do a primer before you do it? And things like this to get just the right thing going.
So you had a custom combination.
It's not something you buy off the shelf at Ace Hardware.
Right. That's crazy.
From an extensive catalog of all kinds of adhesives, and here are my various substances, and it's going to be different for the soft rubber than it is for the hard plastic, and get the right adhesive going. I want these to last forever, not planned obsolescence. I'm the opposite of planned obsolescence. It should last forever, which is very bad for sales.
But
who cares?
But your products do.
That's
They
what
do.
I
I still have a few sets, and we have a few sets here of Good Vibe Mallets.
That's okay. So where are we now? And people here, would you make me some? Would you sell me some? Would you do me some? Would you do this, that, and the other thing? And we started out at Drums Unlimited with Mickey. The person says, give me 2 of everything that you make.
And how many models?
I don't know right now, but he had a very nice addition that he said, not the fooling around mallets. Which he knew me, I worked there on a daily basis in all kinds of different capacities. I was in charge of the percussion sheet music library division.
No way.
Before there
So you
was
went to work for
anything in Philadelphia, if everybody knows what, Steve Weiss, there was nothing else.
Exactly.
Okay, so he had every possible percussion publication because I had, going back to the Library of Congress, I would go there to the musicology department. The librarian was a man named Wayne Shirley. If he's still alive, he is a musicologist with red hair. And he was the one who pounded the unfinished Charles Ives symphonies into shape so that they could be performed. This is Wayne Shirley. He's the chief librarian of musicology at the Library of Congress. And I would sit there and catalog all percussion publications that they had in the whole basement.
Yeah.
You had to fill out a little piece of paper for each one, and he says one day, listen, enough paper, I'll bring you the whole cart up to the reading room. You don't have to order each one separately.
There you go.
So Mickey wanted to see this whole list of things. At that time, there was no way to do it. And have everything possible in his the complete percussion library. So I worked at Drums Unlimited there. I would fix cymbals, fix snare drums, pack up rhythm band equipment for elementary schools. So he says, I want 2 of each of your models, except the fooling around ones. I'm still fooling around.
Yeah.
It's important.
Oh, you are. I've seen some of them.
I'm still fooling around. And then Frank Ippolito, and then Moy Lichon. There was a store in Boston, I think, at that time. LA came later. That was all the drum shops in the world. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, really.
That's it. That was
it.
all. Everybody. There were 2 in Chicago. Bill Crowden was Drums Unlimited, and that made Mickey Tabersi very upset. So he changed it to Drums Limited. Okay. So it's Drums Unlimited or Drums Limited, and of course Frank's Drum Shop in Frank Ippolito in New York, and somebody in Boston, much smaller scale, and in LA, I forgot the name of the guy out there. That's it. That's the drum shops. That's all. Everything. So the next step with this, I'm not going completely chronologically.
That's okay. I think we're all keeping up.
You have to wind the mallets with something. This is the other component. Okay, here's the component here. Okay. They have to be wrapped with something. Some of them, at least.
At least, yes.
People say wrapped and unwrapped. All right. And one of the big problems is the yarn wears out.
Yes, it
At
does.
that time, how many marimbas were there? Not very many in the world. And it doesn't, on a marimba, it doesn't wear out very much. But the vibists, it would wear out and wear out and wear out. And one of the mallets on the market was a very good mallet, but it was wrapped with cotton yarn, which wore out after a couple of gigs.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Probably one go, one session.
Okay, so they were looking for something. Somebody was looking for something better. I don't know who came up with this first, if it's me or somebody else. But we have a textile background. I have all kinds of different components.
Oh yes.
That's an name of a Bobby Hutcherson album. Very important components. Okay, there's all kinds of hardware on the cover of the album. Very important Bobby Hutcherson album. Very, very important. So I did textile research now. My mother, may she rest in peace, was a weaver. So we had yarn samples in the house. It's a swatch card.
Right.
Like you get at the paint store.
Right.
Of yarns.
So you just happen to have
And at that time in New York, there was still a fabric district, Fashion Avenue
Absolutely.
and Fashion District, and you could buy anything necessary to manufacture textiles in Manhattan. Today, nothing left.
There's
One
nothing.
button store left, and that's about it.
It's not the same.
So I went up to the yarn supplier and purchased different kinds of yarn from different materials and tried them all out. At that time, cutting my fingers by doing it by hand and counting. Don't talk to me, I'm to not lose
Right.
count. And
Lose
sewing
count.
them up myself. And we came up with 100% nylon yarn. It's got more parameters going on in there.
Mhm.
It's called crimped.
Not creep, crimped.
Crimped yarn to artificially make it, because regular uncrimped nylon is like a fishing line.
Right.
It doesn't work for
Yeah,
us.
it's not going to work for mallets.
And you couldn't wear a shirt with this. So they would crimp it and make it more wool-like. So I found out about this yarn, which will last forever. I found out where it can be purchased. Until it was outlawed, it was used for children's pajamas,
Oh.
but it's flammable.
Oh.
So when they discovered that, it was outlawed.
I think I've heard the story before, yeah.
So all of a sudden, there's none to be found, because that was
Which
the
makes it
problem.
harder
I'm not
for
the
you to
market for
find.
the yarn.
Right, you're just.
They are. And at that time, the U.S. had textile industry, a significant textile industry.
Right.
They would manufacture. My blue apron is made in USA still. So I had to grab as much as possible to keep some stock of this crimped nylon yarn.
Didn't they call it baby cotton?
Not cotton, baby yarn.
Baby yarn. That's
Baby
it.
yarn,
Yes.
and you could buy it. If you look, it's 100% nylon at the
I have heard this
at the
before,
yarn
yeah.
store. But
Yeah,
all
when
of a
it-
sudden it disappears
It made
because
it
it was
super rare because of that.
it was
Yeah.
outlawed. Which means you have to find a different way of obtaining it. And then you have to mechanize the winding.
So you're doing everything by hand as far as
And up
stitching,
until
up
some
until this
point,
point.
and you can't continue. It's
Right.
it's impossible.
Especially as you're getting more and more popular. I'm sure you're getting more and more orders.
That's right.
How do you keep up with that? When did you make that switch to a
I had
mechanical one?
I had women sewing these up very nicely, but they wouldn't wind them up. But they sewed them up very, very nicely.
Right.
They got paid by piece, so they can do it as fast as they want, as long as it comes out perfect. They're very nice ladies. They would
Yeah.
do this at home, mallets, they get the mallets and return them, and by the number of mallets they had done, they would get a paycheck. And if it's not perfectly straight, well, I'll do it over again. Very nice ladies.
Yeah.
At that time, people were not embarrassed to work. Okay, the winding machine, Musser had a winding machine. Deegan had a winding machine. You can see the Deegan winding machine on their film. You've got to get your hands on their film. You can see it for only about 5 seconds,
But it's there.
but it's enough.
You know it.
It's not very complex. So I found a man who was willing to make one for me. He made, imagine this, a machine to wind Christmas tree ornaments. This was a hard foam ball, and he would wrap it
Wrap it
with
around it.
satin yarn around red or
Yes.
green.
Yes. My great
Or
aunt used to have
both.
those.
Or
Yeah,
both.
My great aunt used to have those.
Made in USA.
Mhm.
Imagine. So he said, my current machinery just needs a little bit of tweaking, and it'll work just for you.
For the mallet.
Yes. And we made some different things to count the strokes
Mhm.
and to control the tension properly. And a tensionometer or something like that,
Mhm.
so I could be accurate to say the Bobby Hutcherson, I had it written down, is at X tension, Dave Pike is at Y tension, Gary Burton is Z tension. Everyone had a different if we actually experimented. I would talk. We'll get to maybe these guys if you want to.
Yes,
So I've
absolutely.
got the components working, the rattan and the rubber balls. Somehow I got a hold of these at different harnesses, and I sort them out by diameter, and the glue, and the yarn, and the winding machine, and we can go ahead.
Today, we see these giant mallet companies sponsor these people that are very well known, and most of the time it's because there's good financial backing behind it, and they can make a good product. But here is just one man from Washington D.C. and David Pike, Bobby Hutchinson, Gary Burton are playing your mallets,
Carl Berger, Roy Ayers.
and you're just one person with a couple ladies sewing for him and working this out, and you're managing to get all of these rock stars to play your mallet. And I know there's one story Gary told me that he met you for the first time after a concert because all of a sudden he saw someone walk up to him out of the crowd and hand him a pair of mallets and say, "Try these. Hey, will you try these?" Do you remember that day?
No, I don't. He reminds me once in a while. He reminds me of that.
But you're so confident with your ability, and you're so confident with your research of all the adhesive, the rubber, the rattan, that you're willing to go up to someone like Bobby Hutchinson and be like, "You need to play these mallets, my mallets." What's that like? What's that feel like?
I want to say something different, Andrew, if I may.
Oh, of course.
This was a gift from heaven to have the honor to meet these great artists. Not in the audience, not backstage, that's not, but really to meet these people. Important musicians, each one in his own special way. Roy Ayers is not Carl Berger, Dave Pike is not Bobby Hutcherson, Gary Burton, and later on I met Friedman and Samuels, and we became very, 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 very good friends until this very day. We can correspond with David Samuels. No, not that's difficult. With Friedman every week. Every week, I'm in Custom. Well, I'm going to be in Custom also. I said, it's great. They're very nice people. What's up? They're very nice people. Good to know. He knows that you're very nice people, and it's true.
We're very nice people.
It's true. It's true. I'm completely sincere. It was a great honor and privilege to meet these people, to be in Lionel Hampton's apartment in Manhattan for 2 hours, along with him in his living room, and talk about anything.
Yeah.
Talk about anything. And Dave Pike in San Diego, I stayed at his home. Bobby Hutcherson, I never got to his house in Montana, but we would meet here and there, and there and here and there. Carl Berger in Woodstock. Very nice guy, very nice person, very important contribution. And the students don't know who this person is.
No.
I played this for percussion students in Israel, and they fell off their chairs. What's going on? This is out of space.
You mentioned it before, like, Carl Berger sounds like Carl Berger. It doesn't, people imitate each other.
No, it's completely original. There's no one.
In your opinion, he's one of the only original guys.
No one is even trying to be Carl Berger, because it's just only Carl Berger. Mike Maneri, lovable guy. He's an elderly person today. I would meet him here, meet him there. When I was out on his farm, he also lived in Woodstock.
No way.
And we're not going to talk about the Barker's-Berry vibraphone pickups right now, which I also did. And then one day, I checked before I go anywhere. Mike Maneri is going to appear at Ronnie Scott's in London, in Soho. I said, well, I'm going.
Yeah.
And I waited till the end of the set. I said, do you know who I am? No, I don't. It's you! And I had brought with me an old album of his when he was 25 years old, and now he's 75 years old. And we've got a picture of me and him in the old album.
There he is.
Very, very wonderful, very, very special. There is no other Mike Maneri. There are no imitators, no disciples. Nobody can do it. He's one of a kind.
He is.
A very moving musician. We have some great stories with him. I can't tell you everything in one fell swoop. Those are the major people, because I love the jazz vibraphone. I love it.
You do.
I
That's for
love
sure.
it.
You've been playing every one we've had. Every vibraphone we own here, you've been playing it.
I've made the whole circle. Bags I never really connected with, which is a shame. I met Red Norvo. He was already deaf, so it was difficult to converse with him, but I had to meet this man. Very important. Where would we be without the pioneers? We wouldn't have gotten here if not for them. It's Red Norvo and Hamp and Bags. Without them, we would never get anywhere. They were the foundation of vibraphone. So where are we now? Okay.
So let's talk about this at more of a personal note, and if you want to leave anything out, please do. You talked about the beginnings, you talked a little bit about the heyday and gathering all these artists together and perfecting your craft.
And I was not able to supply the demand for those mallets.
Right.
That is a
Still
factor.
kept it small.
I was not able to do it. Everybody wanted them. So they were back ordered, and I was working 24 hours a day.
There's only this one machine. What in today's day and age, I think a lot of people would say, like, okay, maybe I should devote more time and more energy to this to take out a loan. What made you end it and sell the company? And then how does that lead you to where you are now today, living in Israel?
I guess I have different phases of my lifetime. Maybe it was time to move on to something new. We're not throwing the old stuff, not throwing the baby away with the bathwater, but to continue to something new. So simultaneously, I had decided to go live in Israel, which is my ancestral homeland, and figure out what to do with the company. At that time, Bill Ludwig Jr. was expanding Ludwig this way, that way, and the other way. He bought the ghost pedal and then he buried it. That's a fact. I didn't make it up. That's commercially known.
We still see that nowadays.
He bought this. He bought the case company. I forgot the name of the case company.
Oh,
Black Cases. Okay.
Yes,
He
yes.
bought and bought and bought, expanded. Bought a new building. The old building. And somehow somebody paired us together that this would be the right place. They're interested in having a top of the line mallet because Musser mallets were no big deal. No big deal. Standard Volkswagen mallets. And they wanted something which was like he bought Ringer timpani at that time.
Yes.
Because he wanted something top of the line. Because if you make top of the line Ringer drums, then you also buy the regular fiberglass ones because this is the same company that makes the Ringer drums.
Yeah.
That was his
Business-wise, yes.
rationale, and this would work here. So he and his CFO, Chief Financial Officer, came to Washington, D.C. for a meeting with me and my father, may he rest in peace. Turns out that the Ludwig CFO studied together with my father at the School of Business Administration.
Really?
Oh, it's you! It's you! But complete,
Just accident.
Complete.
They didn't know they were.
no,
Until they showed up.
They met each other. Wait a minute, we were 1935 in the School of Business Administration.
That's so funny.
So this went smoothly and quickly. They purchased the equipment, they purchased the material, they purchased the name, and they rented me out to come to LaGrange, Illinois for X months until everything got set up and I was satisfied with the
Continuation of your product.
I'm looking for a better word,
Oh.
but the continuousness, something like that. It would continue to be the
Consistency.
same product because I would train them how to make it.
Yes.
So I was out there in LaGrange for a couple of months working with them. It was a very, very pleasant experience to work at Musser in LaGrange. And the workers, the factory workers on the floor, this is Chicago. They're all Polish. They live in Polish town. And we made great friendships. They identified me and they liked me. I remember Jews from Poland, yes, speak some Yiddish. They said something, oh, I remember that one. It was nice to meet them every day.
Yeah.
I worked with them years and years ago. And
What year was this that you moved up there to LaGrange? Are we in the 80s now?
No, 72, 73.
Wow. So that's pretty fast from when you
Yes.
started.
Okay, that was the first Kilon. I remember the first day of Kilon.
The first day.
The first day of Kilon.
And you didn't stop it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, okay, it's okay. There's Kilon stories,
It's
interesting Kilon stories. They thought that Rosewood was finished. Well, everyone is going to play Remo plastic drum heads and no calf heads and
okay.
Kilon and no Rosewood,
So
and we're going
they-
forward.
Yeah.
That was a big step forward. That was interesting, but they gave me a free hand in the factory. I could comment about the Kilon, and they would listen. That was very impressive. The first instrument, they used the regular rosewood frame, but the bars were so heavy they would clank. The accidentals would
Because they
clank
were
on the
so much
naturals. I said,
heavier.
you have to lift it up a couple of more millimeters because you can't play the instrument. And they didn't know that.
Right. Because how many of them were musicians?
No, they're engineers.
Yeah.
So I said, listen, would you bring in this person or that person? I want them to come in and tell you what they think about the instrument. They sent one to Frank's drum shop without even testing it out with other musicians. Eventually somebody came in and eventually they were working on this, working on that, and they wanted my opinion. It was a very nice place to be. New mallets for the Kilon to make it sound like something human and not something glass.
Right.
So we tried this, we tried the other thing. I would take these mallets out and pound them on the curb and see if they break. They didn't
Did
have,
some break?
so we rejected.
Yeah.
Okay? They had some of my mallets, they accepted them. Was something also very nice there. This is a story, and it can happen, and I was at the right place at the right time. They introduced the in-between between M1 yellow and M2 red. It was too big a space.
Right.
M3 blue, there's too big a space. A new one called, I don't remember which number, and it's black.
Mm-hmm.
But they had at the top the super hard rubber black, and the bins got mixed up. Black both, like the diggin was all black. Or if something happened to diggin, you could never get out of it.
Yeah.
So but Musser had only two which were the same color, and they got mixed up in the bin. Somebody dumped this into the other bin, and then they wrapped them, and then they wrapped them, so nobody knew if what was inside was this black one or the other black one. And this was discovered after they were already packed up in bags.
Packaged.
In bags. Okay. To throw them all in the garbage can is a difficult decision to make.
Right.
Okay. But what to do? So we all consulted together. Try running them through the durometer test after they're wrapped, and it worked. And we could sort them out into two different, which are completely different. Inside they were both black without tearing off the yarn,
Right.
which is an expense.
Yes, that's
Starting out,
waste
we
resources.
could separate these with durometer testing.
There it is.
Each one got a test, and this is A, this is B, A, B, or X, Y, X, Y, X. But that's a nice story. So I was at the right place at the right time.
You
So
saved
somebody
a
will know
lot
now
of
what
mallets.
a durometer can really do. And it was easy. You couldn't just sit there and say bang, bang, bang. That would not be the right way to do it. So these are stories from
That
LaGrange.
would be my way of doing it. I would have
But then
chosen
on
that way.
an industrial scale, you can't
Yes.
do that. This is
No.
when you've got the number staring at you.
Yes.
Okay, so this is another story from Musser. And then I left I gave my percussion equipment to a very good friend of mine, the #1 freelance percussionist in Washington, D.C., Tom Jones. And I kept my Dig Indiana in a black case for me, but other things, all kinds of, all of the toys we have, and every type of triangle, and every type of tambourine, and every type of snare drum, and a Rogers Skinny drum, and a Dynasonic, and everything you want. I said, you're going to use it, I'm not going to use it. So this is now pause.
Pause.
Pause. I have a new lifestyle, I have a new area of interest in theology and in rabbinics, which is my next stage of life. And I put this in the bottom drawer and closed the drawer. Until several decades went by, I concluded one stage and went on to another stage, which is going into the academy, into research, into history. And since my mother was a textile artist, my father was a financial analyst, I combined those to be a textile historian. And to be accepted by as a fellow of the Textile Institute, I had to prove that I know what I'm talking about. So I studied at the Textile Engineering School and wrote my, what's that called?
Dissertation?
My
Thesis?
CV.
Oh, your CV.
To be accepted by the Institute as a fellow of the Institute, because I'm not a professor at the School of Textile. But what have you done? What do you know?
Right.
And the lady calls me up from Manchester, just, that's not enough, we need something more. I said, well, if I invented the machine that wraps mallets for playing the vibraphone, do it! And I selected the right yarn and it's crimped nylon, do it!
Yes, yes.
And they said, okay, you're in.
That's
So
it.
I'm a fellow of the Textile Institute, the International Textile Institute, and one of the things that got me in were the mallets. He said, that's textile engineering!
There it is. And you did it
First
not
rate.
through academia.
First
You
rate.
did it
So I'm putting
enjoying it.
everything together, and the day comes and I said, wait a second, I left my heart in, there's a song like that, I left my heart in somewhere. Perdido.
Toledo?
Perdido.
Perdido.
It's a Dizzy Gillespie. Da-da-da, da-da-ba, da-da-ba, da-da-da, da-da-ba, 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 ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-da-ba. I left my heart in Perdido. I left my heart in the marimba. Parentheses. When I visited Dave Pike at his home in La Jolla, outside of San Diego.
Right.
Don't ask me exactly when.
Yeah.
At that time, he laid down his mallets. He said, I've been playing the vibes since the age of 16 or 18, and it's paid for my house and for my life and
Career.
everything, but I lost it. So I'm not going to play. He had the big musser in his living room. It said Dave Pike on the front rail.
Personalized. Absolutely.
Okay, but no, I'm not going to touch it because I lost it. I'm going to wait and see if the love comes back. It did. So that's what happened to me. The passion came back. The love came back.
How long did it take?
It was in hibernation. 40 years.
Did you play marimba or vibes?
No.
Oh,
No.
so for almost 40 years.
Yes.
Nothing. And you were happy.
Yes.
It was time. You knew.
But it came back. So the Dave Pike story is an illustration of that. Sometimes you need a vacation,
Mhm.
and the passion came back. It came back. Okay, so I've got my study at home. It's a library essentially, and there's room for the marimba. I put up the marimba. Digging Diana from 1920. It's 100 years old plus. That Hal Chalmer could tell me which day it was finished.
Yeah, he probably could.
Can. I said, okay, let's get the big Lady Glock from Bill Dreiman's Fall Creek Marimbas. So I had it sent to Philadelphia. And I was visiting somebody, a friend of mine from elementary school in Philadelphia. They sent it to his house, and I took it back on the plane from Philadelphia International Airport all the way home. It weighs a ton.
Yeah.
Lady bars,
I
steel
know.
bars. And when I got to customs, I said, "What is this? It's not. We don't have it on the list. You have to pay customs. It doesn't
Yeah.
cost $50.
No.
I said, "Well, it's a drum. Okay, it's a drum. So there's no big deal to pay the. So it's also there." And then I recalled that I had lent my xylophone to the man in Washington, D.C. It's a Lady 3 1/3 or 3 1/4 octave 1900 xylophone on this, like you're leading down here with this weird frame with all the mechano parts,
Mhm.
with the joints and the joints here and the joints there and the joints there. And I said, "Tom, I'd kind of like to have my xylophone." He says, "No." What? I said, "I'm going to have it completely rebuilt by Matco, new frame, new resonators, and have it. I'm paying for it," he says. "And I'm going to send it to you. I'm paying for it. If you charged any import duty, tell me. I'll pay for it. Everything on me, because you lent it to me for 40 years. So you're going to get a brand new one with the same bars."
There you go.
120-year-old Lady xylophone bars, which you know are irreplaceable.
They don't make them like that anymore.
You can't even
That
replace one
rosewood
with something else. It's not it.
It's completely.
Okay? So Mike Bolter, here's this story. He says, "Would you lend it to me for 40 years too?" We're very good friends.
Yeah.
May God send him better health.
Yes.
He's having a tough time. He doesn't deserve it.
Thoughts and our prayers.
He doesn't deserve it.
No.
He doesn't. Such a nice guy. Okay. So I've got the marimba, xylophone, and Glock, and pulled out the old mallets. I said, "Well, let's make some new mallets
There you go.
that nobody would even dream of,
Yeah.
and figure out, make something completely out of space, completely wild, completely unconventional." And Bill Mersh pick them and say,
What are you calling these mallets?
Hmm?
What are you calling these mallets?
"New Vibes.
New Vibes, everyone.
New Vibes,"
Seen 'em.
and it's in laser engraved.
I
It says,
saw it.
"New Vibes," and all kinds of wacky things, and I don't care because I told you I'm not going to audition on The Sorcerer's Apprentice. I want to play the instrument and make it do what I want, and something special, something original, something which is in there. And a new mallet might bring something out, and I have qualms about certain things which are not happening on the instruments, and I want to
Yes.
make them happen.
And I've seen you do that. Downstairs on some of that leading instrument you were talking about. You would play all the way up at the bottom, stop at a certain point, like that's it. He knows from his ear, this is exactly where this mallet stops speaking on this instrument. And one other thing too, you don't like to explain in words what that certain quality is.
We've discussed this.
Use your ears only.
Music is something super verbal.
Mhm.
When it's lowered down to verbal or subverbal, then it's something something missing. There's something missing. I told you what Miles Davis said to the producer: "Don't give me no liner notes. It ruins everything. Don't describe what he's doing. Just listen. Be quiet." It's the art of listening. So just as I discovered the hole in the ball, the M1s at that time, or a cracked bar on a marimba at Gilberto Serna's, a cracked bar. I said, "No, there's no cracked bars." I said, "I'm sorry, this bar is cracked." Because we have the ears trained to do that. That's a gift. That's a gift. It's a real gift. So I've got new sounds coming out. I wanted to have damping mallets for the Glock, and something which works on the low octave and the super low octave of the marimba. We made some crazy mallets. This is the old stuff from Mike Maneri, because it's very special, original
Very special
thinking,
stuff. Oh,
which
yes.
he needed at that time, but that's history. And mallets for a Lady 5-octave marimba is to make mallets for dinosaurs, which are extinct. but I don't care. So I have to
It's
come
not
back
weird, yeah.
here to play the leady again. It
Yeah.
needs to be kind of polished up a little bit.
We'll get there.
Okay, and the lady is waiting for somebody. This lady, Lady, this young lady is saying, "Will somebody please play me again?" What else can we talk about, or is that enough for you?
I think that's a great place to stop.
Okay.
You have sent us down quite a historical rabbit hole, and it's so cool to see that. Especially nowadays, a lot of younger students experience burnout. People, professional, they say burnout's the big buzzword. And I'm not saying you burnt out, but there's still a chance to fall back in love with the thing that you did before. And you just had that calling to go and put, like you said, put it in the bottom shelf and shut the drawer.
But don't throw it away.
Don't throw it away.
Nothing.
That's a great way of explaining it.
One important scholar delivered an impressive lecture, if you desire. And he was asked, "How long did you prepare that?" Well, 40 years. Because all of our life experiences add up to making the whole person. This one's still here, and it came out into blossom just recently. And then somehow, I think it was Matt Coe. Have you been to Kutztown? Matt Coe, when we was remaking the xylophone, and he made covers for my vibes and my marimba and my xylophone, and I asked him something. He says, "Have you been to Kutztown?" What?
Where's that?
Okay. And so that was at that time. It started my voyage to get here, and I'm so happy to be here. You, plural, all of you have welcomed me so warmly. The students are just
The students
sweet.
are fantastic.
They're sweet, and they have thirst. They want to hear. They want to ask things. They want to get feedback. They want something new. They're open. Sarita is listening to things she's never heard before, and she argues.
Oh, she loves to do that, Sarita.
That's the best thing. She's not saying si, senor, si,
Yes,
senor.
yes,
She
yes.
says, "No, that's not right." Okay, so this is,
Good.
we've still got another day here. This has been a very, very important experience in my life. I hope, Andrew, it is not going to be a once in a lifetime.
It better not be. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for sharing all of that with us.
I hope somebody learns something from that, gets inspired. That's important.
One last question. Any interest in sharing these new mallets with people? Or is it more just for your own edification?
It's going to be more, I think it's important if one will say, "Wow, this really solves my problem." Or this one adds a new dimension that I had not dreamed of yet. I'm not going to re-establish a commercial operation, but in my basement, I'd be happy to fulfill someone's request for this special new product. I would be very happy to do
Well, I
that.
wanted you to keep sharing with us all the different
I will do that.
crazy ideas that you have.
I will do that.
The different, I think you said it, like, if it's spherical, I'll turn it into a mallet.
And see what happens.
And see what happens.
And see what happens.
I love that attitude.
Let's see
All
what
right.
happens.
Well, thank you again, sir.
You're welcome.
Let's get some lunch.